Now I know what you're gonna say. Yeah, this is another Dragon Age the Veilguard video. Haven't we milked this enough? Well, no, because when it is so much to be milked and so many new things that constantly arise, people like me tend to follow up until the very end. I did so with my previous sort of series involving Assassin's Creed Shadows and Ubisoft, and this is turning out to be bigger than that. Good evening, ladies and gents, my name is Hyozo and I'm DiscussThing, and today we're going to talk about something that I actually haven't thought about regarding Dragon Age the Veilguard and Bioware up to this point. However, after today, after reading so many stories, leaks, revelations, I think that there is a bit of another spin to the Dragon Age situation that I haven't thought about until now. So you're all familiar with how badly the game is doing on Steam, how egregious the numbers are, how it's not performing nearly as well as a AAA or quadruple A game should be performing during this time, and especially when it is first of all released before a weekend and released by one of the biggest studios out there. And it stands to reason that this is basically the newest woke flop, the newest DEI, diversity, equity and inclusion narrative infused propaganda material with gaming infused into it, like I have been saying for the past few days. However, usually when a game like this launches and it starts making the rounds, the studio behind it is usually, at least in the beginning, very supportive, and it has a lot of fans that constantly post hyping materials about it. You have a lot of news articles that post, and yeah, we have some of those. However, the biggest issue is that Bioware doesn't really seem to care about this game, and I briefly touched upon this in yesterday's video where I showed you that Bioware's Twitter account has barely posted anything related to Dragon Age the Veilguard. And after I made this video, we actually had a few posts, and I'm gonna show them right here, right now. This is one of their latest posts. We had 2 or 3 posts after my video afterwards, and this is what they wrote. We hope everyone is enjoying their time in Dragon Age the Veilguard, not even linking the official Dragon Age Twitter page profile. It's only a few days until N7 day, and this year will be quieter because of launch. Be sure to check back then for a little fun though. So you're kind of making a post about Dragon Age the Veilguard, hoping that people are enjoying the game, and then you switch it to the N7, which is usually the Mass Effect news day that we're hoping to get, usually a new Mass Effect game announcement or just a celebration of this great trilogy. This is what's usually happening because November the 7th is that day, and for many years, people have celebrated the Mass Effect trilogy and continue to do so across the world. I'm one of those people. I absolutely love the Mass Effect trilogy. One of my favorite things to continue to play after so many years. Once the Legendary Edition released, I was so happy because it was just bringing back so many memories, and with up graphics and up performance, it was simply an amazing experience to relive once again. However, making a post about Dragon Age and turning it to N7 day is just very weird to me, because you currently have a newly released title that you are supposed to promote to your heart's content because it's your new baby. It's what's actually driving your popularity up in a way, even though it's badly received. Same thing is with the Dragon Age official account. Now, we do have some more posts here, but again, it's very scarce. We have something from November the 1st, which is Defy the Gods. This is basically a promo video. We have some reposts, like from Khalif, from of all people, who is one of the biggest grifter, as it was shown by a lot of people who basically begged for a copy to be given to him by Bioware. We have the repost from the Bioware Twitter page, which is about a patch that they're gonna do some fixes after the initial release, which is kind of normal. We have the Golden Joystick Awards, which do include Dragon Age the Veilguard as a competitor, and we have some other like very random posts about it, like this from which is a retweet from a promo of Dragon Age Veilguard, and I guess this is one of the characters here. I don't really know what's going on there. Thetis, please don't completely destroy us. I'm not really sure what that is. I'm again have not played the game. I don't have the means to procure it in a safe manner for me, but anyways, and nothing else of sorts, like no reposts from popular streamers or from people who are supporting the game, no news article reposts, no thank you for just promoting the game or anything. It is so weird, especially with the Bioware's official, and this post is very absolutely suspicious. Of course, it's getting completely destroyed by a lot of people, like, oh, how the mighty have fallen. Long gone are the days when Bioware knew how to write good story and character, give raise to environmental artists, and fire all the activists dressing as writers in your midst, and perhaps there's still hope left for the upcoming Mass Effect game. And the Mass Effect game that is upcoming is something that is expected to be announced. It's Mass Effect 4 or 5, depending on how you're viewing it, because some people don't view Mass Effect Andromeda as the Mass Effect 4, with some people don't even viewing Mass Effect Andromeda as a Mass Effect game, which is a fair assessment because it was terrible to say the least. But this all leads me to a very weird conclusion that I don't think that Bioware actually wanted to release Dragon Age the Veilguard in the first place. And it's starting to make sense because once you see the game, like how shallow it is story-wise, how it is absolutely filled with woke propaganda bullshit on every level, with the cringy dialogue, with the cringy scenes, with the abhorrent voice acting, with the emotionless dialogues between the characters, with the simplistic gameplay, and especially with the almost complete absence of choices that actually matter within the game, as reported by a lot of people who have played the game. It doesn't seem like Bioware has given a lot of attention into making this game good, and it's starting to feel a bit more like the company was contractually obligated to release it. Like it had a quota, it had a promise that needed to fulfill, to basically say, okay, we're finally gonna release it so it can be over with, we can put it in the rear view mirror and just be done with it and focus on Mass Effect, which you can look at it from two different ways. You can look at it as something good, because that will at least explain why the game is so bad and why is it received so horribly, and that the majority of the actual creative work might still be active and focus on Mass Effect, as it's probably going to be announced in a couple of days. Or you can view it as they're just giving up on everything, and that the next Mass Effect will be their next thing that they just want to release, and this is the way things are going to be from now on. Because if Dragon Age the Veilguard is what Bioware can do now, and they're just trying to pump up games as a quota and don't care about the quality that they're providing, it's just a bit sad, because the next Mass Effect needs to be big. It needs to be an absolute banger. And with Dragon Age the Veilguard, it will take a lot of convincing from Bioware to get the fans back on the saddle and be hyped for this game. Because currently, people are so disappointed in the company that they're just turning away before anything is even announced. This was further amplified by a report which is posted on That Park Place that Dragon Age the Veilguard will not have any DLC or expansions, as BioWare should focus to Mass Effect 5. This is just an example of seeing a company throwing a game under the bus, just discarding it like a sick puppy. And when a company like BioWare says that they're not going to do expansions, when they're basically one of the most popular companies that actually made some of the best expansions for video games to have ever existed, including the Mass Effect franchises like the Shadow Broker DLC, the Citadel DLC. If they say that they're not going to be making any expansions for this game, it just solidifies that they have no real intentions of actually caring about this game at all. They're just hey, here have something to enjoy. We're just gonna make a quick buck and put all those money into the next franchise. And that brings you to a rather troubling conclusion that with the money that Bioware has spent allegedly on Dragon Age the Veilguard, they've been taken aback from the lack of positive response and at the very least from the lack of any funds that will be coming their way. And what I mean by that is a tweet from Jay Viper, who actually yesterday posted that he has information for the PlayStation numbers. Firstly, he posted like that Veilguard has around 3,000 owners out of 6 million users tracked, but later he did tweak the number because he apparently talked to some representative at the PSN profiles, and the number is closer to 220,000 owners, like copies sold in this case, which if we double it for Xbox and for other platforms and we add the updated charts from Gamealytic, which at the very best put it at 884,000 copies sold without including any refunds, without including any freebies, and just treating it as a full price game, doesn't come even close to what is supposed to be $150 million budget. And I actually had reply to his tweets, and I wrote that a bit of an estimate that I have been doing for the last few days, and I took the high estimate of 220k. I put the same number on Xbox, I added the Gamealytics with the adjustments, and we came up to 1,324,000 copies, and for the sake of it I upped it a little bit to 1.4 million with a $60 per copy. This is 84 million. If we count that the budget is at least 150 million, with at least half of that additional budget coming for marketing, and we arrive at over $200 million. And $84 million is not even enough to basically pay the salaries of these people that worked on it, which kind of makes it a huge flop. Now again, this is still, to this day, speculations. We don't know the exact budget, but I'm finding it very hard to believe that a game that is 80 hours at least, or if you're faster, 70s, 65 hours long for gameplay, and you have a lot of voice interaction, a lot of animations, a lot of chapters to go through, and it is an extensive game from what I'm seeing from the streamers. It does have 6, 7, 8, even more chapters with a lot of animations, a lot of game materials in it. This is all huge money. You have a lot of developers that have worked on the various aspects of the gameplay, and this really stacks up towards a bigger budget. But even if you're very generous and put it to 100 million or whatever, it still doesn't add up. And when you had what I just talked several minutes ago, that this does feel like just a contractually obligated release by Bioware, it would seem that either they have known from the start that this game will flop and they just wanted to minimize the damage and just release whatever they had without torturing themselves on tweaking it more and pumping more money into something that they knew that's gonna fail, or that they had some high expectations that the name alone would carry some profit so they can maximize their money they can put into the Mass Effect game that they're probably going to announce. And it's all very weird. I'm personally struggling with these concepts and these financial decisions because as a company you should have some analyzers that feel out the audience, feel out the market, and should be able to tell you the best calls that you can take to either have the minimum losses if you're already headed that way, or how to turn a loss into a profit. This is something that there are people that have committed to their lives of doing so and make huge amounts of money for themselves because they're good analyzers, and a company like Bioware should have some of the best under their wing. And I don't know what happened. I truly don't know what happened. The only things that I do know that are happening right now is that the game is a flop. It seems to have been abandoned by the Bioware, and it's basically just discarded as a sick puppy to be mocked and ridiculed, and for Bioware to not bother with it anymore and focus on the future. This is the things that I'm seeing and the things a lot of other people are noticing based on the actions that the company is taking and just the lack of media coverage from them pumping the game as much as they can to try to hype as many people to buy. What remains to be seen is the concrete numbers for production costs and everything, so we can accurately say exactly how big of a flop it is. But more and more people that I'm seeing are switching from a success to either underperforming or fail, and those who already said that it was going to be underperforming, a lot of them are starting to say that this is going to be a massive flop. Now, whether or not this is going to be felt by EA and Bioware, it remains to be seen, because they have a tremendous amount of funding from external companies like, you know, BlackRock, like, you know, other consultancy companies, and those people who deal in very open practices on, if I remember the quote correctly, moderating language and the narrative. So this might just be a bee sting for them, or even a mosquito bite on their massive budgets. But in the long run, what they probably don't realize is that people are becoming more and more alert, and they are not so short-sighted and forgetful as they were 10 years ago. A lot of things that are happening now are going to stick with people and leave a bad taste in their mouth for a long time, which will make future installments very susceptible to harsh criticism, which in turn makes the company look bad if they don't deliver on the heightened expectations after the massive fails. So whatever happens in the future for the future Mass Effect game or with Bioware itself, it has earned a lot of criticism in the past week, and the general trust from the fans of Bioware games has dropped significantly after the release of Dragon Age the Veilguard, and that is going to make things for them very tricky in the coming future. We'll see what's gonna happen in a couple of days. I will be covering what we see on N7 Day, if we see a new Mass Effect, if we see a trailer or just an announcement. We'll see what they're gonna say, and if they're gonna pick up the slack from abandoning Dragon Age the Veilguard, which would disprove this entire video, but hey, whatever happens. And I, of course, will continue to keep updates on how Dragon Age the Veilguard is doing and what is it doing to the company and to the gaming industry, because whatever a company might think, the money well is not endless, it does have a bottom. And when you don't have paying customers, that well is going to dry out much sooner than expected. Anyways, that's all I have for this video. Thank you very much for sticking around for so long. If you have, press the like, subscribe button on my channel to follow me for more videos. If you want to support me directly, press the join button and join the DiscussThing army on one of 3 tiers with awesome perks on each level. And if you want to support me in my quest to help homeless animals and animals in shelter, visit my Patreon, which is linked in the description below, and subscribe there to donate to the cause of feeding and sheltering these sweet animals. Thank you very much. I have been Helzo. This was DiscussThing, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers and stay fresh.